Good morning, everyone. Today is day 3 of Mainnet. This morning we had the opportunity to stop by a very cool booth, RDX Works CEO Pierce, and they are building the first DeFi engine.
First DeFi engine.
Incredible. So tell us, to our audience, what is that?
Yeah, so a DeFi engine, we realized that when you go and talk to the major DeFi projects and the major DeFi developers, that the majority of their time was spent on things that were actually security related rather than building products. And a big part of that is because you kind of have to hand roll everything from scratch, do a lot of boilerplate, and the kind of errors that can come up in building a DeFi protocol like recursion, reentrancy, all of this kind of stuff means that people build in this incredibly defensive, very tricky low-level way because you're forced to because of the tools that you have like Solidity, like the EVM. What we did is we took a lesson from the games industry. So in the 1990s, the computer games industry was just getting started. And it was also really hard to build a computer game. You spend about 80 to 90% of your time doing things like the rendering engine and the low-level physics and all this kind of stuff.
Yes.
And then the games engine came along, things like Unity and Unreal, and they changed the game for the games industry because they gave all of those low-level implementation things for free, and now the games developers could focus on building the games.
Wow.
So we've done the same thing for DeFi. We've created the Radix engine, which is an engine for DeFi and for Web3 that gives you all of the primitives that you need to be able to build as inherent components of the ledger, and then a programming language called Scripto that we spent 3 years developing as a result of feedback from people building DeFi applications to create this really intuitive, easy to use language on top of that engine so that you could build something like Uniswap or Aave or Synthetics or anything like that in a very intuitive, fast way with all of these security guarantees that meant you could spend a lot less time on the low-level security and a lot more time on building great functionality for users.
Wow, amazing. I think for any new DeFi dApps, they will be very thrilled that they don't get wound up in all the plumbing, but focus on their new business model and their sort of vision.
Exactly. And like this has come from a long period of work where we've spoken with not just the DeFi developers, but also with security companies like CertiK. We haven't actually spoken with you guys, but companies like yourselves, where we have tried to understand what the main hacks and exploit causes are, and then in the language itself and in the engine itself, make sure that those kind of mistakes just aren't possible or are very, very difficult to do. So a great example of this is when you compile Scripto code, it's based on the Rust compiler, right? And so what it does is it won't even compile if you've done something stupid like not deal with a complete transfer of an asset or something like that. So you can't even deploy it to the ledger. These guardrails are even in the compiler so that when you compile something, it will go, no, this isn't going to work, you don't want to do that.
Right.
Which we think is going to be revolutionary for making it easier and making people feel more secure about building DeFi in the first place.
Terrific. I think that this is definitely a game changer for the DeFi community. So I guess if people want to learn more about, where can they get in touch?
Sure. So our website is radixdlt.com, radixdlt.com. On there, you'll find all of the documentation about Scripto. You can go to developers.radixdlt.com to go to our developers hub, or you can join us on our Twitter or our Discord and join in the community conversations. But if you are thinking about getting into Web3 as a developer for the first time, first thing, that's amazing, definitely do that. Second thing, come check out Scripto because I promise you it is the easiest way to learn Web3 development.
Great, Pierce. Thanks so much. We learned a little about Radix today, and enjoy the show. That's a wrap here, and we'll stay tuned for another stop on day 3 at Mainnet.